Introducing the new Volvo XC90 with 7-seat versatility, Google built-in, and advanced safety features for all your precious cargo. The new Volvo XC90, designed for life. Visit volvocars.com/US to learn more.
I just MailChimped my marketing.
You MailChimped your what?
I MailChimped my marketing with AI to create an effective marketing campaign in minutes.
No, MailChimp and Way.
Yes, MailChimp and Way. Now I can hyper-personalize my campaigns across email and SMS.
You can do all that with MailChimp?
What did I just MailChimp and say?
MailChimp your marketing with the #1 AI-powered email marketing and automation platform, Intuit MailChimp. #1 based on publicly available data on competitors' customers. Plans vary. SMS available as add-ons. Visit MailChimp.com.
This is a long-term marriage. The parties are of advanced age. This is a long-term marriage. The parties are of advanced age. I can't get past that sentence.
This is the plaintiff, Ellen Stahl. She says she hired the defendant to represent her in a landlord-tenant situation related to her divorce. And the guy failed miserably in helping her, and she wants him to refund the $5,000 she paid him. The defendant actually sold her down the river in court. She had to hire another lawyer, more competent, and is suing the defendant here and now for the $5,000 she's owed. This is the defendant, Vincent Lacata. He says he doesn't owe the plaintiff a penny because he worked his tail off for her. The plaintiff is just disgruntled and mad at her ex because she was financially cut off, and that led her to be disgruntled towards him. Bottom line, he knows the judge will agree, and he'll walk out of here the victor. He's accused of making things even messier.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Millian in our forum, the People's Court.
Be seated. Come to order, please. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome,
Okay. Ellen Stahl,
Yes.
You are suing your former attorney, Vincent Lacata, for $5,000 in legal fees that you paid him that you want him to return to you because you believe they were unearned. Tell me what happened.
Okay. I hired Mr. Lacata from a friend. He lived in the neighborhood. He knew my kids, all right? He was recommended, all right? And I was in a desperate situation. I was going through a terrible divorce. I wasn't
How long
paid.
had you been married?
30 years.
30 years?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been paid a dime since then, and we're still married. All right.
And how long has the divorce been pending?
It was 6 years. And I wasn't even given support, nothing.
You asked for alimony and you didn't get it?
I asked for everything.
Okay.
You name it, everything.
Okay.
All right. He didn't want to give any of his finances. He held up the court, and he was holding all the money, and he was holding all the assets.
Tell me about the asset that's in question, because you hire him for what?
I hired him. We had net leased a building for over 25 years.
What does net lease mean?
Net lease means you take over, you pay the taxes, you take over all the responsibilities of an owner, all right? You don't own the property. What you do is get a first option. The first option, you can buy it, all right? Other than that, you can either sell the option or give it back to the owner, whatever, but it was a first option.
And it was going to last how long?
It lasted over 20 years.
Okay, was this something that was entered into or purchased or an asset that was acquired after the marriage?
No, in the marriage, all right?
And so this was a building with how many units?
There was second, third, fourth, fifth, and a store.
So how many units?
About 5.
Okay, so did you have businesses renting it?
Yeah, no, we had
What was
residents.
the income on the building?
Residents.
Just curious.
Just, there was what?
What was the income on the building?
Like a year? About 200,000.
So now you guys separate, or you guys are going through this tough divorce or whatever, and you are still living there?
What happened was this, Your Honor. We also had another piece of property, all right? He put that into almost foreclosure, all right? We had to get out of it. I was on the top floor of that one, too, all right? So what happened was he refused to let me into the asset. All right. He was living in there with my children. He refused to let me into the asset while we were separated.
How old are the children?
They're now 20. All right. So what happened was, the small amount of money I got from the first disgraced $17 million building sold for 100. The bank got 9, and it sold for 10. All right, so
Million?
yeah, and I got 120,000 out of it, of which I had to go find an apartment and live there because we were fighting to get back into the other asset. In the meantime, all that money was getting used, gone. I'm getting evicted from
I'm confused. You're getting evicted from a place that you've lived in how long?
Well, I was only supposed to be there temporarily because I was supposed to be moving back into the other asset. I finally got back into that asset. I finally got back into the building. The judge ordered it. He ordered my husband to put me back into that asset.
And that asset is an asset where you had lived for how long?
I had lived there for about 3 years, but we own the net.
Right, but I see this order that a judge crafts at some point, which we'll talk about, that happens a little bit after that, where the judge is saying that it's the only marital home you've ever known, that you've lived there your entire married life of 30 years. That's not true?
Wait, the judge never said that. I mean...
Yeah, I misread it. Hold on.
No.
This is a long-term marriage. The parties are of advanced age. This is a long-term marriage. The parties are of advanced age. I can't get past that sentence.
That's what everybody said.
What is this? They are living apart. The wife is facing eviction May 5th from the apartment in which she resides. The husband has control of the only marital property, which is a mixed commercial residential use building on Reed Street in Manhattan. He holds a net lease on the building that will expire November 2011. There is an empty apartment on the 5th floor of the Reed Street building. The wife cannot afford to relocate to another apartment for which she will have to pay a deposit, first and last month's rent. Accordingly, I prevent the wife from becoming a public charge, and I order the husband to make the 5th floor apartment available to the wife for the duration of the net lease. Well, that was kind of nice and probably baseless. What was this about?
He doesn't know.
So you hire him to do what?
I hired him, all right, once I found out my husband sold the option, of which I had a friend that was going to help me obtain it's all about that, obtain the option to the building, all right, obtain the option to the building, so I didn't have to...
You mean the option to buy the building?
Yes. We, as the owner of the net lease, had first option to buy it.
And then you find out that your husband sold that.
Yes. Get sold. I have the rent roll. They took this on, and the new owners took it on with me as zero rent roll. All right, zero rent roll. They took that on knowing that.
And then the new owners said, get out.
The new owners told me not immediately to get out. They were going to just start, all right? So that's why I went to see him.
So you went to see him to represent you agained whom? The new owners?
Loft board.
What is the loft board?
The loft board is an entity that was created by, created by the state, and it enacts rules regarding people who've lived in residences for a consecutive period for over 20 years. So given the fact that Mrs. Stahl didn't have residency for over 20 years in the building, continuous residency over 20 years, she didn't apply under the loft law.
Okay,
to make
but now
that argument.
you go to see him because you want to be able to stay there as long as you can or try to fight this or whatever else. You hire him to do specifically what did you hire him for?
First, to see what is my standing in front of the loft board. If I do have a right to stay there.
Okay, so you hire him, and do you sign a retainer agreement?
No, we didn't sign.
Did she sign a retainer agreement?
She did.
May I see it?
Oh, I signed a retainer agreement. I didn't remember because I was so upset.
Okay, and then you pay him how much?
$5,000 in cash.
Did she pay you $5,000 in cash?
Judge, there's no dispute that she didn't pay me.
So she paid you $5,000 in cash, and she wants it back, and you want it back. Why? What happened during the representation?
Well, what he did was he goes back to. He has a date to go back to court. I don't hear from him. I'm calling him. No phone, no call, no nothing. Finally, I get this. Ellen, pick up. You have to call me back. You have to give me back. Man, he has no secretary, nothing in his office. All it is a machine and his clothes. Okay, so basically, I call him back. I said, what's going on? What's going on? He goes, you got to leave. You got to leave. You got to leave in March. This is January, February. I got to leave the 1st of March. I go, what do you mean I have to leave? He didn't even try to extend the time. He did nothing. He went for 1 hour. 1 hour he was in there. The whole purpose of this, Your Honor, is that he never gave me a statement. I have letters. I have letters by attorney.
He never gave you a statement?
Never gave me a statement.
You mean a bill?
Of work done.
Okay.
Never gave me a statement.
I haven't.
Did you ever send her a timesheet?
I did, Your Honor. I did send her a timesheet on February 14th.
Of what year?
Of 2012.
When is it that she told you she wouldn't need your services anymore?
February 7th.
Of what year?
Of 2012.
These are the letters sent back.
Okay, So I see this order, the one I was reading from earlier. What lawyer got you that?
All right. What, the order? Oh, Polly Eustace. All right.
That's a prior lawyer?
No, that's the lawyer I had to get.
I'm not understanding because the dates on this order are 2011, so that's not making sense.
She took the case.
After him or before him?
All right. You mean after he had the case?
Yeah.
He was there. Yeah, the lawyer after him.
She was the lawyer after him?
Yeah, he was dismissed.
I'm not understanding that it can't be 2012.
No, Your Honor, that order is from Judge Evans.
This is a witness.
Judge Evans was the lawyer that was presiding over the divorce case.
Judge, not the lawyer.
And Judge Evans issued that order in, I believe, in April of 2011. And that order said that she was to stay in the apartment for as long as the net lease was in effect.
Which was until November.
The net lease
so
expires.
she comes to see you after that.
Correct.
Okay.
The net lease expires in November.
Of 2011.
The new landlord brings eviction proceedings.
Against her.
Against
And the
her.
eviction proceedings are instituted when?
I believe in December of 2011.
She comes to see you and hires you when?
She hires me in December of 2011.
All right, and then it gets set for trial for when?
February of 2012, after an appearance on January 6th, after trying to negotiate with the landlord's attorneys, after having an agreement with the landlord's attorneys to allow her to stay in the premises for 6 months before she had to leave. She had no rights under the loft law. I conferenced the case, spoke to her divorce attorney, Robert Hilsiger. I met with him in court.
Okay.
He was trying to.
You gotta stop.
Okay.
He was trying to find a nexus between the property, the new owners, and Mr. Stahl.
A continuing nexus.
A continuing nexus.
Why does he have to do that? Why isn't that a marital asset? It's not? Well, it was over. The net lease was over.
The net lease was over. The property was sold.
That's why it's not a marital asset.
So he was trying to find a needle in a haystack to try to find.
She's just a trespasser at this point.
Absolutely, and she has no rights to. She had no rights to be there. I spoke.
So you negotiated with them in January.
In January.
To let her stay there till when?
For 6 months.
Till June.
Till it may have been May 31st. When they wanted her out of the
Okay, but not March
apartment.
1st.
No, but definitely not March 1st.
Okay, and so
she refused.
do you understand you're entitled to zero because you're a holdover? You don't have a right to be there anymore? In other words, a marital asset is over already.
No, he didn't make any. He was supposed to go in and delay the action. He said
yes, I know that it's your God-given right to delay and obfuscate and continue to stay rent-free somewhere that you have no right to be.
Rent-free.
But I mean, what I don't understand, are you paying rent during that time? No, stop. Were you paying rent to the new owners of the net lease?
No rent.
Yes, I did. I started to pay rent.
When did you start to pay rent?
Welcome back to the People's Court. Harvey Levin here. So who's divorced here? Okay. How do you prevent all-out nuclear war in a divorce?
Giving love and forgiveness.
Did you do that?
Yes.
Oh, good. Good for you. How do you prevent it? What do you do?
I guess avoid lawyers. Just kidding. Oh my God,
you know what? I got to tell you something. I'm going to stop right here. No, I got to stop. That is somewhat true. There are some lawyers in the divorce field who actually fuel disputes because they make more money. That's where, I'm so glad you said it. I'm just going to go in a soapbox for 10 seconds. It's really true. You've got to be so careful when you hire a divorce lawyer because some of them want to make money, and it's more important for them to make money, which is fine, but more important for that than for you to be okay at the end of the divorce. We're going inside the courtroom.
I started to pay rent in February, March. I started to pay rent because the new lawyer took me to court. She went against his petition, all right? We made a deal that I have to keep on paying rent till it's time to get out.
Oh, so your new lawyer struck a deal for you to pay rent?
Yeah, pay rent, of which she kept me in there.
How much rent did you pay?
I paid $3,000 for several months, then $4,000. Okay. We did make a deal. He didn't, that's the whole case.
Judge, during the term.
Here's the one thing I have to figure out. I have to figure out if the $5,000 you paid him he worked for, or if the $5,000 you paid him he didn't work for. I don't have to figure out if you don't like him or don't like the answers he was giving you or didn't feel that he stretched out your free time long enough. Give me your timesheet so that I can see what you did with the $5,000 retainer. When did she first start demanding her money back?
And after the case, I was discharged as her attorney.
Did she stop talking to him directly?
After I was discharged as her attorney, she started to demand her money back because she hired a new attorney.
Okay.
And she wasn't satisfied with the answer I gave her, which was the same answer in December as I gave her on January 6th when I appeared in court, when I met with the attorneys for the landlord, and it was the same answer when I notified her and spoke with her repeatedly about having to go to trial if she did not agree with the landlord to a settlement to stay until the end of May, during which time she would have...
The landlord wouldn't offer her to pay rent?
No rent until the end of May. If we entered into a stipulation of settlement and the case didn't go to trial, that was the agreement. She refused.
But they wouldn't just let her stay on as a tenant?
No, they...
Are you still living there now?
No, I had to move.
Judge, it's a law.
How long did you stay there for?
6 months more.
It's a 2,000 square foot loft. They can get $15,000 a month for that space.
But they knew they were
This is more about the divorce than it is about my representation in landlord-tenant court.
All right.
And she made that clear at the beginning of her presentation.
Okay. Here's what I want you to explain to me, okay? I want you to explain to me why the man should do everything that he did for free for you.
I never
Because there's all kinds of legal maneuvering to be done when you're trying to pull off what you're pulling off.
Really?
You have to talk to the divorce lawyer several times. It's your divorce lawyer. If he never talked to him, why don't you have an affidavit from your divorce lawyer saying he never met with me, he never talked to me, he never...
He spoke to him once on the phone. He never saw him in person because he's always busy. He's always in court. He never has a chance to go visit him in court. All right. Number one, all I wanted was a statement from him. He sent all my letters back.
When did you send her the statement? February 14th.
The second week of February, Your Honor. And I met with Mr. Hilsiger on January 30th
You did not meet with him.
I don't want to hear any more arguing and talking over each other. Okay.
I met with him on January 30th to discuss the case, to advise him that the only... How
many times did you meet with him?
Once.
How many times did you speak with him?
Several times.
Oh, my God.
And she wanted to buy the building.
Let me just explain something to you. Here's the way I'm done.
He never gave me a statement. I never got
He says he did, and I'm looking at it.
I don't have it.
But you not getting a statement doesn't mean that the case is over because you never got a statement.
He sent back his
letters. Okay, so now I'm looking at his timesheets, and I'm looking to see if there's anything going on there that's irregular. I'm looking to see what evidence you have that he did nothing other than the fact that you don't like the result, and I see nothing that would buttress what you're saying.
He never sent me a statement.
Ms. Stahl, we're done. We're done. I wish you luck on your divorce case, and I rule in favor of the defendant.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, you know what? You're a... All right.
Well, the lawyer there, the defendant's able to show in court that he did do the work that entitles him to that. Step up a little bit and talk to me here.
He never gave me a statement. All of this is about, I don't know where the judge is going with this, but all I wanted was a statement of the work he did. I sent him letter after letter. He sent it back. I sent him certified. He sent it back. I wanted a statement of the work he did, 20 hours at $2.50 an hour. He supposedly worked 20 hours. He only appeared in court once. And didn't even tell me what he was doing. And with that, he just gave me to them.
Have you found a good place to live now? Have you found a good place to live?
No, this is an important fact. By the way, he told them that I never got paid. The judge realized.
Have you found a good place to live?
No, I didn't find a good place to live because of this. Because this man, I saw him in Chase Manhattan Bank, and he was putting the money in.
All right.
Okay, ladies. He told me to go outside the door. Remember, Victor?
Okay.
Remember?
Okay, step in here. All right, come on in here. I don't know, she's pretty adamant about her belief that you're not entitled to this money.
She can believe whatever she likes. I kind of feel sorry for her.
Why is that?
Because I worked for my money. I did this more as a favor than anything else, and I feel like I got her a good result.
Is there a chance? Is there a possibility she didn't get that statement? Is there a chance?
Well, unless the mail didn't deliver it to her, but I sent it to her on 2 occasions.
All right, Harvey.
Okay, real quick, a lawyer doesn't guarantee results. A lawyer just promises to act professionally. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case on the way into the courtroom right now.
On WhatsApp, no one can see or hear your personal messages. Whether it's a voice call, message, or sending a password. To WhatsApp, it's all just this. So whether you're sharing the streaming password in the family chat or trading those late-night voice messages that could basically become a podcast, your personal messages stay between you, your friends, and your family. No one else. Not even us. WhatsApp. Message privately with everyone.
With a major selection of the looks your kiddos love starting at just $4 in the Walmart app, a new school year means a stylish new them. Who knew? Find skater skirts and Crocs that say, I'm casual but cool. Sparkly sneakers that say, it's my classroom, you're just learning in it. And preppy polos that say, I'm the teacher's pet, even if they're mommy's menace at home. Find their favorite styles starting at just $4 in the app. The Walmart you thought you knew is now new.
This is the plaintiff, Joanne Reedi. She says the defendant owes her money for utilities for an apartment her daughter and his daughter shared in college. Now that the kids have graduated, the defendant won't pay up his fair share of the still outstanding apartment bills, totaling $352.56, so she's suing. This is the defendant, Thomas. He says he had multiple heart attacks and admits he was a little late getting back to the plaintiff, who, for the record, is as nasty as they come. He's a responsible guy, paid all the bills in full for his daughter, and is sticking to his guns on this one because he doesn't owe the plaintiff a penny, and court or no court, he's here to fight for what's right. He's accused of being a poor payer.
All parties, please raise your right.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant screwed her out of utilities for her daughter's apartment, but the defendant says she's smearing him when he's down. It's the case of Lights Out.
Okay, Joanne Reedi or Reedi?
Reedi.
Reedi. Joanne Reedi, you are suing Thomas. You've asked to be referred to only by your first name, and we'll respect that, for $352.56 that you say he still owes because your children were roommates, correct? And that you overpaid and he underpaid.
Correct.
In the shared responsibility of paying bills. Okay, explain what happened to me.
Okay, on April 13th, the girls agreed to go into an apartment together. They were in separate apartments. My daughter was in a single, his daughter was in a triple.
Okay, is this at school?
This is at school.
Where were they going to school?
Philadelphia University.
Okay.
Okay, so they decided to then get a joint apartment. We moved in fact, the weekend of April 29.
Right.
The apartment complex billed us for rent, gas, water, trash, and there was a billing fee they put on. The girls also had to get on their own electricity, which was under PICO, and they got cable, internet, and then eventually telephone, which was under Comcast. Those bills were under my name.
Okay.
We had agreed that it would be half and half. We would pay...
Everything would be half and half, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so when I spoke to Tom, when the girls moved in, it would have been probably the 30th of April of 2011. He had said he's not one for paying monthly bills. He likes to pay a large amount up front, and then they deduct from that, and then when he owes some more, he'll pay some more, and then go from there. Well,
it just presents a math problem. All right, go ahead.
So August 29th was the first request for money by me.
Okay.
I waited.
Because he paid up front?
Well, he paid up front.
Who did he pay it to? To you? To the apartment building?
He paid it to the apartment building.
How much did he pay?
He paid. See, the thing is, though, PICO, which was the electricity, and Comcast were paid by me. So he had to pay me for those, and he had to pay the apartment complex for...
Okay, did you ever receive any money directly from him?
I received 2 checks from him.
Okay, all right. So how much money did you pay the apartment?
Total $10,227. I have a schedule that I right to Berkshire. I always pay right to Berkshire.
Okay,
I paid them
I need to see proof of you paying $10,227 to Berkshire, because she's attempted to give me a ledger of who's paid what, and in it she gives you credit for $9,475.
Right, that's what's on Berkshire's money, correct.
Oh, well then if you have proof that Berkshire's wrong, show it to me.
No, the question you asked me was how much did I pay? I also sent her a check.
No, I know. The question was how much did you pay to Berkshire?
Oh, $9,475.
Okay, that figure's correct. All right,
Yeah.
and then you also paid to her $415.40 and $752, right?
Correct.
Okay, and those were for what?
PICO.
Okay.
And whatever else bills that she said I owed.
Okay. All right. So there is no question then, we're all on the same page that you have outlaid $10,642.40?
Okay.
All right. Now, according to you, you've paid more than that.
Correct.
Okay. I want to see proof of what you've paid.
Okay.
All right, let me give it to her, and she'll ask questions and come back in. Right? That's her payment history. Then
This is the payment history to the apartment complex. Let me see the bills for 9/12/49 and 2,432.37 that you paid to Pico and Comcast yourself.
I've never seen the Comcast bill.
Listen, there is none so blind as he who will not see. All right? You could have gotten monthly statements for each and every little nook and cranny and all this stuff, but you didn't want to be bothered. You wanted to pay big chunks and then, like, we'll figure it out, we'll split it. And now that she's saying, look, here's the tally, and painstakingly going through everything, we're here over $300 that they say they overpaid and your side was supposed to pay. And now, you know, like, nobody ever showed me. You notice now that you weren't getting billed monthly? You knew it. You didn't want it that way.
No, it was never on the apartment building's payments. It was always
not on the apartment building's payments. When is utility on there? You get your own utility and you pay the utility company.
It wasn't in my name.
Well, what? I understand it wasn't in your name on purpose. You didn't want it in your name.
I've done this 8 times with other colleges and other children, and I realized that's why initially, and I said to Joanne right in the beginning, I want to pay Berkshire. I'll overpay Berkshire. Because
I don't really care. It doesn't matter because in the end, it is more work for me. I have to sit here and figure out so that in the end, you guys are zeroed out and you both pay the same thing.
Absolutely.
But if it's hard to complain. I never saw a cable bill when you never asked to see a cable bill. But we got the cable bills and we'll show it to you. Why was it so high 1 month? Was it 2 months worth of payment?
No, it could be that the girls had rented movies. I don't know.
Okay, let's discuss what there's no question about, and let's discuss what there is a question about. To me, after reviewing all these bills, there is no question in my mind that you paid for the year $12,444.92. There's also no question that you paid $10,642.40. All right. If the agreement between the girls is that you guys would split things, then why is it that you don't feel that that needs to be evened out and that you owe whatever that split difference is?
So how do you prevent disputes over money between 2 roommates? What do you do?
We take turns paying, or we just go halvesies.
So you don't count to the penny?
No.
Okay, interesting. What else?
I would just present the bill and just go down half. You know.
But every single bill.
Every single bill.
Total
them up, and split it every month.
So you would keep track every week, every month.
Probably.
It's actually a really good idea. Going inside the courtroom.
When you say you didn't get to see the cable bill, you know I'm looking at bills like for $280 for a month of cable.
It's ridiculous, $280 a month for cable. My daughter would never do that in a million years. We don't have it home, and we never did it at school. We wanted a wireless router and basic TV. They're at school.
So what do you think the problem is?
I think the problem is a $2,000 cable bill that should be $1,000.
Right, but why didn't you make sure it was $1,000, I guess?
I had no control of it, none whatsoever. And I've sent other emails to her.
What did the girls say about it? I mean, the girls were good friends, right?
Yeah.
And what happened?
I don't know what happened.
Are they still good friends?
No.
Over this?
No, I have no idea.
No, they just weren't good friends anymore?
Correct.
Okay. Why?
Girls living together too long. Just didn't work out.
At the end, by the time they graduated, they were no longer close?
Correct, yeah.
Well, she was supposed to come out
together.
on vacation to Montauk. That's when I had a heart attack on the 4th of July. She was supposed to come out, and I was going to explain to her.
And that's when you were going to...
Wait a minute, stop.
I was going to give her the check because I really got tired of the whole thing. I actually told her at the end, just split $22,000. I'm really tired of what's happening here. And I'm not like an argumentative person. I'm pretty easygoing. Honest to God, I really
Did you ever talk to your daughter about the cable that they had?
Yeah, she's like, Dad, I never rented $293 worth in January. She wasn't even there in January.
Yeah, but why don't you make it your... See, this is the problem. You can't have your cake and eat it too. If you decide that you don't want to be bothered with details, then you don't get the details.
No, it wasn't that I didn't want to be bothered with details. No, but I'm saying
if you had been bothered with the details on a monthly basis, you would have said, whoa, what's going on?
Absolutely.
We're not from that world.
And
I don't know what premium channels you're used to, Toots, but that's not what we grew up with. You could have done all that if you had bothered to bother yourself. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
This is hands-on. She did everything.
I understand, but you let her.
I didn't. I had control last year, not this year.
Okay, I know, but you could have control. All you had to do was say, send me a bill monthly, and then you'd see what the charges were.
Correct.
Not for Berkshire, there were static charges, but for the other stuff, you know? So the girls don't even talk to each other?
No.
Alrighty. Okay, so the difference between how much you overpaid and how much you underpaid in order to get you guys here is $317.56. What's the other $35 that you
Tom paid online to Berkshire, and there was a $10 online fee every time you paid online. I did not pay online. I sent a check. So it was $70. He paid 7 times.
But you're not asking for 70, you're asking for 35. Because you had agreed to the procedure, I guess. All right. I find in favor of the plaintiffs in this case in the amount of $352.56. Where's your daughter now?
She's doing an internship at Walt Disney World in Florida.
Oh, good. What did she study?
Well, she studies psychology, but she's actually driving the truck in the African world.
So you mean she gives a tour? She does a tour?
She's the tour guide.
Oh, my goodness.
Animal Kingdom, it's unbelievable.
Okay, great. Well, tell her to pony up $352.56 because when you say you've paid enough, yeah, that's not a defense to her, but it's kind of a defense to your daughter. Okay? Good luck.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So the defendant's going to be paying on behalf of his daughter. Step in, so at least you have a smile on your face. You're laughing.
Yeah, it's okay. I'm a pretty easygoing guy, and $352.56 seems very fair. And I think what happened today is justice.
It's too bad the girls aren't friends anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with that. I really don't know.
No,
I don't know. You know, my daughter's got a ton of friends. I don't know.
Yeah,
things happen, I guess. I don't think it was because of this. I honestly don't.
Well, maybe she was renting nature movies.
Yeah,
maybe. It worked out. All right. Head right down there and come on in here. You satisfied how this comes out?
Yes, I am very satisfied. I'm glad it's over with.
Yeah.
Yes.
Was he difficult to deal with? That difficult?
He didn't respond to emails nor phone calls.
Was it a good idea for the girls to move in together?
It was until the billing part came into.
So, what have you learned out of all this?
She's going to live alone next time.
All right, over to Harvey. You know, the best thing to do when you have a roommate is you keep a joint ledger where you both have access to it and you fill it out as to who's paying what. It's really the only way to avoid these types of disputes. And that will do it for this case. Oh, you got to look at this real quick. Are these dogs awesome or what? Okay, going inside the courtroom.
USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks, or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Visit USAA.com/bundle.
Bundle savings are off total premium, not available in all states or in all situations. To qualify, auto policy must be active prior to property policy issue, subject to change. Restrictions apply. Membership eligibility and product restrictions apply and are subject to change. USAA means United Services Automobile Association and its affiliates, San Antonio, Texas.
This is the plaintiff, Brian Foreman. He says he and the defendant were once good friends, so he thought he'd be a nice guy and loan him some money for a new car. Well, nice guys finish last because now he can't seem to get the defendant to pay up in full, and that's so not right. He's suing for $250, the balance of the loan. This is the defendant, James Clark. He says the plaintiff vandalized his Camaro by breaking one of the lights and cracking his bumper. He made it clear he had no intention of paying him the remaining $250 on the loan because he was going to use that money to fix his car. Oh, him? Ha! He's accused of fouling up a friendship.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff loaned his good buddy money for a car, and guess what? He got stiffed. But the defendant says the plaintiff vandalized the ride. It's the case of don't stiff me, bro.
Thank you, Douglas. Brian Foreman, you are suing James Clark.
That is correct.
For $250, the balance of a loan that you say you made to him that he refuses to repay. Tell me what's going on.
Yeah, I met James about 2 years ago through mutual friends, and over the course of those 2 years, we became better and better friends where he was in a position where he was carless. And being the nice guy that I am, I made sure I crossed all my T's and dotted my I's and verbal agreements as far as this loan I made him.
Let me just tell you, let me explain to you what cross T's and dot I's mean.
Mm-hmm.
They don't belong in the same sentence as verbal, because when you speak, you don't cross a T or dot an I. Did you get it in writing? Just curious?
No.
Okay.
Email,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Does that count?
yeah, that'll do.
Okay.
Let me see your email.
Sure.
That'll do. It's better than nothing, that's for sure.
So yeah, I lent him
Facebook?
That is Facebook. Yep.
Okay.
Originally, it was going to be $400, but the day we met up, that was 2 days prior to us meeting up, January 5th, I believe. So when we met up, he wanted to increase it to $500.
And you did?
Yep.
Okay. You actually don't dispute that, right? That he loaned you $500 to help you you buy a car? Okay, yeah, so you're lucky there. Go ahead.
So, I even went out of my way to, after I gave it, we went to the ATM, I withdrew cash. I even went out of my way to go to the RMV, which there was a big hassle there. He wasn't able to get the license plates because the girl that sold him the car met us at the RMV. She took the plates right there on the spot, so the car was plateless. I drove that car because he was driving one of his family members' cars. I drove the car he bought, the Camaro, without any plates about 5 miles away to one of his family members' house.
Why?
I'm a nice guy.
You're a fool.
Yeah.
That's not, I'm a nice guy, but I'm not a fool. There's a distinction.
Right.
Because the person who's going to get the ticket is going to be you, right?
Yep.
It doesn't matter who owns it. It matters who's driving it. So that would make you not a nice guy. That would make you a fool. A nice guy who wants to help him says, I'll drive your family member's car. You can drive the car that's going to get a ticket. That's a nice guy helping him out who's not a fool. Okay,
I suggested
so go on.
But anyways, so the part of the agreement, and that it was written on that email, was that he was going to make monthly payments of $100.
Did he?
Nope.
No, that didn't work out so well, right?
Nope, and that was to start 2 months later.
Did he pay you any of the money?
He did, yeah.
How much did he pay you?
About 7 months after the payment, he paid me half, which...
Did you have to hawk him constantly to try to get anything?
Your Honor, I've heard every excuse in the book.
And how'd you get paid that half?
Well, I drove down to Providence. I live in Boston, and we...
How far is Providence from Boston?
45-minute drive.
Okay. And you thought you were picking up the whole amount?
Correct.
And when you get there, what happens?
With a very cautious smile, he's like, you're going to kill me. I only have half of it.
Okay, what's the problem?
The problem is that I'm hopping in between jobs at that point. So it's very hard because I'm just working off the tips, basically when I can fill in, possibly.
Yeah, but we're talking about 7 months had passed already by that point. I mean, that's a long time to owe somebody money that you said you'd pay off in 5 months.
Yeah, well, also because of the bills and like my cell phone bill's like $100-something a month.
Well, yeah, but you're picking the bills to pay and you're picking people other than him because probably they're more impatient and there are more direct consequences to you. You can just nail your friend by continuing to keep him on a long leash, but your landlord may not tolerate that. There are consequences for you. So you're picking the bills. But if you were paying $20, $30, which is still ridiculous, but something, the guy wouldn't be so angry. But then he started to build up anger because he runs into you in a bar, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And you're pounding down the liquor, which you apparently can pay for, but you aren't paying him the other $250. What happens then?
Well, between me just going out, I wasn't able to drink then because I just turned 21 as of December 3rd of last year.
Okay,
so I wasn't
was he drinking?
Yeah, that didn't stop.
Okay, so go ahead.
Yeah, I wasn't actually drinking. Like sodas, yeah. But I was...
What were you doing in a bar?
It was an 18 plus.
Okay, go ahead.
So I was there with a bunch of my friends, and he got into an argument with me
Over
and
what?
started harassing about the money.
And by then, how much time had passed?
This was...
It was
October.
Like October, yeah.
Which was how much time from the original loan?
About 10 months.
Okay.
Yep.
So he starts harassing me like, I'll get you the money because I just started up my new job.
He starts harassing you. How is he harassing you?
Not true.
Wait, just a moment. How is he harassing you? I've been doing this without you my whole life. Oh my gosh.
Okay. Would you loan your good friend money for a car?
Depends how much.
$250.
Yes.
$1,000.
Maybe. Depends the friend.
Is it risky to loan a friend money?
It depends on the amount because it could really ruin a friendship.
I'm wondering, does it really depend on the amount if a really good friend of yours stiff you, even if it's $100?
I think it really depends on the person who you're lending it to.
Do you really know who it is until you loan them money?
No, probably not.
That's the thing, going inside the courtroom.
How is he harassing you?
He was basically getting in my face, nothing physical, just like screaming and yelling
Saying
back and
what?
forth. It's like, oh, where's my money? Why are you out if you don't have any money?
Attempting to collect the money is harassing.
Thank you.
Saying to you, dude, you owe me money for 10 months is harassing. Okay, I thought he was actually harassing. All right, go on.
So I just walk away. I was like, I'm done. So I walk away. One of my friends goes out to have a cigarette, and he's like, when he comes back in from his cigarette, he's like, dude, you know that guy just like totally just dinged up your left side of your car, like kicked it, and was like it was like bashing in the front bumper. And I also have pictures of that if you want to see it.
Pictures of what? Him doing
Camaro.
it?
No, the Camaro afterwards.
Oh, no, I want to see pictures of him doing it.
We didn't take pictures of doing it.
Did you bring a witness?
Because it didn't happen.
No.
Did that happen?
No.
Did you kick his car?
No.
Is he using this as
Didn't
an
even see
excuse?
his
Is
car.
he using whatever damage is on his car as an excuse not to finish paying you? How
yeah.
close were you to him?
How close?
Were you dating?
No.
Okay, how close are you to him? I don't know. I don't get it because I understand this kind of devotion to somebody who you're dating, but I don't understand this kind of devotion, otherwise to somebody because like it doesn't look like you're that close.
No, we definitely shared mutual friends and hung out, I'd say probably a dozen times over the course of 2 years.
What are you going to show me here? Just pictures of the damaged car? No. Where's the guy who your whole case is based on somebody supposedly seeing him do it. Where's that guy?
Working right now.
Oh, well, that's unfortunate. What is it you wanted to show me? Show me the...
I have a picture, but it's kind of hard to see on the printed versions, but I'd have a better high-resolution picture on my phone.
Okay.
All right, bring your phone back up.
I wouldn't mind seeing this after it, too.
Nice car.
My baby.
Yeah. Maybe you should wait till you have all the money to buy it. How much did it cost you?
$1,000.
How'd you spend only $1,000 on that car?
Oh, trust me, it had its downfalls.
Like what? A lot of money you had to put into the motor?
Yeah, not just motor. It's a lot of other issues like, body parts, like lights going out. Some of the lights weren't working, so I had to get those fixed.
And ironically,
How about body? Do you have an off button?
Oh, okay.
Press it. How about body? Did you have to put any money into body?
Body work was minimal. There was a couple rusts on the back end, on the back left as well. But the car was actually body-wise in good shape. The frame was solid.
Where is the damage you say he caused?
It's near the turn signal light.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, my friend. Do you even have, not that it would carry the day, but do you even have a statement by that person to give to the court?
No.
Nothing? You're just going to tell me somebody says he did it, and so I don't have to pay? How'd you think that was going to go for you?
Hopefully working.
Really? Really? Do you watch People's Court?
Once in a while.
Maybe you need to watch a little more. Because I demand that people stop flapping their gums and show me evidence. I find in favor of the plaintiff in this case in the amount of the $250.
Thank you.
Learn a lesson from this one, will you?
So the defendant lost his case, and so come on now over here, and you know now that you can't just come in and say somebody said something and call that evidence.
Yeah.
Have you brought the witness or at least a notarized statement, something from him?
Yeah, probably should have done that.
Yeah,
probably would have been a better idea.
That would have been a good idea. Next time you get sued, do that.
Hopefully it won't happen.
What about this friendship?
Who knows? As of right now, it's up on the fence.
Mm-hmm. Door's still open for you, as far as you're concerned, for the two of you to remain friends?
Yeah, because we have a bunch of friends in common, so.
All right. You head right down this way. Come on in here. All right, you win your case. What was it like to have to come into court to get this money?
I didn't want to do it, but for me, it came down to a matter of principle. I went with my heart of loaning him the money. I really thought I would get it back.
That means that you really considered him a pretty good friend to loan money.
Yeah, he was a good friend. Like I said, I've known him for 2 years, and I wanted to give him a chance.
Now that you have your money back, are you two going to be friends?
Forgiveness is important to me, and I would be happy to be friends with him again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Harvey, what do you got?
Okay, I got to tell you, this case really shows you the risk of loaning a good friend money. If you're going to do it and you don't want to screw up the relationship, you got to keep tabs and have a contract ahead of time.